Welcome to today's deep dive. We're diving into something pretty interesting today.
Yeah.
Joseph Aminian's 21 skills
Okay.
for lifelong success and fulfillment. It's almost like,
Yeah.
having a toolkit
Right.
for not just your career, but like a fulfilling life overall.
It's really fascinating. You know how Aminian emphasizes building this foundation to navigate
Mm-hmm.
this constantly evolving world, almost like a secret weapon?
Right.
And based on what you shared with us, I think these skills could be super relevant
Yeah,
in handling, especially those tricky client negotiations you mentioned.
that's a great point. And, he structures
Yeah.
these 21 skills like building blocks.
Yeah.
He starts with what he calls foundation skills.
Okay.
And the first one is the art of selling and negotiation.
Okay.
And I initially thought, wait, is this just for salespeople? But then I realized
Right.
it's so much broader than that.
It really is. You're right. It's less about closing deals and more about confidently communicating your ideas and finding those solutions where everyone wins,
Exactly.
I mean, it applies to everything from pitching a project at work to even just like deciding on weekend plans with
Right.
friends.
With your family.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and it could even be helpful when you're like dealing with those vendors you mentioned,
Exactly.
who are sometimes difficult to work with.
Exactly.
Yeah, and they connect so well with the next foundational skill, which is communicating your thoughts and feelings clearly.
Right.
And we all think we're good communicators, but I feel like
Yeah.
misunderstandings happen all the time.
Oh, all the time. More times than I can count, to be honest. And it's so frustrating because it leads to all this wasted time and energy.
Right.
And Aminian really emphasizes expressing yourself in a way that leaves no room for ambiguity. Like, he loves those I statements,
Right.
concise language, avoiding assumptions, things like that. And for you, I think this could be a game changer when it comes to setting those boundaries with your team.
Yes, absolutely.
You were talking about earlier.
It's about getting your point across.
Yeah.
Whether it's at work or even in your personal life.
Exactly.
Like having that tough conversation with a family member or a friend.
Exactly.
And then the next skill, I think we all need a refresher on this.
Oh, yeah.
Breaking down complex processes.
Oh, sure.
Sometimes those big goals
Yes.
just feel like
Oh, overwhelming.
climbing Mount Everest.
Absolutely. And that's where Aminian's analogy of eating an elephant,
Right.
one bite at a time, comes in.
Right.
It's all about creating that roadmap, breaking down those overwhelming tasks into those smaller, manageable steps. Every small win fuels your motivation and keeps you from feeling paralyzed by the enormity of the task. And given that new project you're starting, I think this approach could be incredibly useful.
I think so too. It's like turning a marathon into a series of sprints.
That-
Okay, so we have this foundation
Yeah,
of communication and planning,
right.
but the world's constantly changing, right?
It is.
And so that's where his next set of skills comes in.
Okay,
Learning and growth mindset.
got it.
And it starts with active listening and learning from others, which sounds simple,
It does.
but it's so powerful.
It is. It's about going beyond just hearing the words, truly engaging with what others are saying,
Yeah.
asking clarifying questions, being open to those different perspectives.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how much you can learn and grow simply by listening to others, especially those with diverse experiences and viewpoints.
Mhm.
I'm wondering if this skill might be particularly valuable when you're collaborating
Yeah.
with your new team, especially from different backgrounds and departments.
I was thinking the same thing. Sometimes we get so caught up
Yeah.
in our own heads
Right.
that we forget to listen to the people around us.
Exactly.
And that leads right into the next skill, adapting and overcoming obstacles.
Right.
Because let's face it, life rarely goes according to plan.
Absolutely. It's about having that resilience, that
Yeah.
ability to bounce back from those setbacks and view them as learning opportunities.
Right.
It's about embracing challenges and understanding that failures are simply stepping stones on the path to success. Remember that product launch that didn't go quite as planned? Think about how approaching that with this mindset could have maybe changed the outcome.
That's a really good point. And then he goes into enhancing reading, understanding, and memorization.
Right.
And I struggle with this because we're bombarded with information constantly.
It really
It's
is.
like drinking from a fire hose.
It is.
I don't know if you feel the same way,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's so hard to
It is.
process it all.
It is. That's why Aminian emphasizes techniques like active reading,
Yeah.
note-taking, and summarize. They help you filter through the noise, identify those key takeaways, and retain information in a way that you can actually apply. I'm curious, how do you currently approach like processing all this information? Maybe we can brainstorm
Yeah.
some new strategies that might work for you.
I'm kind of old school. I mean, I highlight,
Mhm.
underline, I try to take notes,
Right.
but sometimes I feel like I'm just moving words around.
I hear you. Have you ever tried maybe like mind mapping
I've heard of it, but I
Yeah.
haven't really had it.
or creating visual summaries or maybe exploring some of those memory techniques Aminian mentions?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
It's like having different tools in your learning toolbox.
Exactly.
His next group of skills is all about making smart choices.
Okay.
And the first one is pretty bold. It's knowing when to walk away.
Right.
And it's about recognizing when a situation, whether it's a job or a relationship
Yeah.
or even a project, it's just not serving you anymore.
Right.
And having the courage to move on.
Mm-hmm.
And I think,
It's a skill that requires self-awareness, honesty, and a willingness to prioritize your own well-being and growth. It's not always easy,
right.
but sometimes walking away is the smartest and bravest thing you can do.
Yeah. It's like that saying, sometimes you have to let go to make space for something better.
Exactly.
And so while letting go is important, so is managing your time effectively
It is.
to achieve your goals.
Yeah.
And his next skill is managing time effectively.
Right.
And it's not about cramming more in.
No.
It's about
Oh,
creating balance and reducing stress.
exactly. I mean, we could all use a little less stress, right?
A lot less, yeah.
Do you have any time management tips that you found particularly helpful?
I do. I'm a big fan of like prioritizing
Okay.
and using tools like calendars and to-do lists.
Yeah.
I don't know how I would
Yeah.
function without them.
Me neither.
And then breaking down those large tasks into smaller, manageable chunks
Yeah.
really helps me stay on track.
It's all about taking control of your time instead of letting it control you.
Right, exactly. And then his next skill is a bit unexpected,
Okay.
cultivating positivity and optimism.
Right.
And at first glance, I was like, this is a little fluffy.
Right.
But there's actually a lot of research
There
to
is.
back it up.
There is a lot.
Yeah,
It's not about being happy all the time.
right.
It's about choosing to focus on solutions rather than dwelling on problems. It's about cultivating gratitude and practicing resilience even when things are tough. And this could be particularly helpful for you when dealing with those unexpected project delays
That's a good point.
that always seem to come up.
It always seems to happen.
Right.
And so I'm starting to see a pattern here.
Okay.
Like all these skills,
Yeah.
from communication
Mhm.
to problem solving
Right.
to adaptability
Right.
to positivity,
Yeah.
they all kind of build on each other
We do.
to create this foundation for a more fulfilling and successful life.
They really work together to create this powerful synergy.
And then his last skill in this group is about making wise decisions,
Okay.
making decisions based on facts.
Got it.
Now, I have to admit,
Yeah.
I am guilty of making impulsive choices,
Yeah.
especially when I'm tired.
Oh, for sure.
I let my emotions get in
Ah.
the way.
Yeah.
So how do you approach?
Well, I think it's about taking the time to gather information, weigh the pros and cons, and really think through the potential consequences of your choice.
Right.
And I think it's also about being aware of your own biases and seeking out diverse perspectives,
Yeah.
you know? For example, if you're struggling with whether to take on that new project, take a step back and ask yourself, what are the facts?
Right.
What are the potential outcomes? And am I letting maybe my emotions cloud my judgment?
That's a good point, yeah. Just taking a breath,
Yeah,
slowing down
exactly.
for making a choice.
Exactly.
So that wraps up our foundation skills, which are all about communication, learning, and making smart choices.
It's a good foundation to build on.
It is.
Welcome back to our deep dive. In part one, we really laid that foundation with communication and learning and decision-making.
Yeah, I'm feeling energized. I feel like it's amazing how those seemingly basic skills can set you up for success.
They really can.
But now I'm ready to kind of step it up a notch
Okay.
and tackle the next group,
Right.
which Aminian calls stepping up and out.
All right.
And the first skill in this category, public speaking skills,
Okay.
made me pause. I have to admit, public speaking is something I have always struggled with.
It's a skill that I think evokes fear in a lot of people,
Yeah.
but it's also incredibly empowering.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the impact you can have when you can confidently share your knowledge, inspire others, advocate for your ideas. And, it's not about becoming a world-class orator overnight.
Right.
Aminian really emphasizes starting small, maybe speaking up more in meetings or presenting to a smaller group,
Mm-hmm.
Remember when you had to present that proposal to the board?
Oh, yeah.
How did that experience make you feel?
I mean, I was terrified beforehand, but it actually felt really good to share my work
Yeah.
and connect with the audience.
And that's what it's all about.
Yeah. But I
Yeah.
still get nervous just thinking about it.
And that's totally normal. I mean, even the most seasoned speakers get nervous.
Yeah.
Aminian acknowledges that public speaking takes practice.
Mm-hmm.
He suggests focusing on preparation, structuring your message effectively, and using techniques to manage those pre-presentation jitters.
I'm definitely going to need to work on those jitters, but you're right.
Yeah,
The ability to articulate your ideas and engage an audience is so valuable,
it is.
both personally and professionally.
Absolutely.
So moving on to the next skill,
Okay.
persevering after failure.
Right.
He seems to be all about embracing those challenges and bouncing back from setbacks.
He emphasizes that setbacks are inevitable, but it's how we respond to them that really defines our success.
Right.
It's about reframing failure as feedback, using it as an opportunity to learn, adjust our approach, come back stronger. I'm curious, have you encountered any significant setbacks in your own life?
Oh, definitely. I can think of a few times where things didn't go as planned.
Yeah.
When I first started out in my career,
Yeah.
I had this big project that I was really excited about,
Okay.
and I put in so much time and effort,
Mm-hmm.
but in the end, it just completely flopped.
Oh, no.
It was devastating at the time, but I realized I learned so much from that experience
Good.
about, what to do and what not to do.
That's a great example of turning a setback into a learning experience.
Yeah.
And that's precisely what Aminian encourages. He
Right.
talks about analyzing what went wrong,
Mm-hmm.
identifying those areas for improvement, and using that knowledge to refine your approach.
It's not about avoiding failure. It's about embracing it as a stepping stone
Exactly.
on the path to growth.
I love that.
Okay.
It is.
So his next skill,
Yeah.
self-directed financial investment.
Right.
This one really hits home for me. I've been meaning to get a better handle on my finances, but it always feels so overwhelming.
It can be, but Aminian really stresses the importance of taking those first steps.
Yeah.
Even if they seem small, he suggests maybe starting by creating a budget, setting some financial goals, and learning the basics of investing.
Okay.
There are so many resources available these days, from online courses to financial advisors.
Yeah. I've heard of those robo-advisors.
Yes.
Do you think those are a good option for someone who's new to investing?
I think they can be a great starting point, especially if you're not sure where to begin.
Okay.
They use algorithms to create a diversified portfolio based on your risk tolerance and financial goals.
Interesting. I'm going to have to look into that.
Yeah, check it out.
So we've covered public speaking, perseverance, financial literacy.
Yes.
What's the final skill in this stepping up and out category?
The last skill in this group is acting independently of circumstances.
Okay.
And it's about developing that ability to stay focused on your goals and maintain momentum regardless of those external distractions or challenges.
Oh, that's a tough one.
It is.
I am so easily distracted. I know I'm not alone in that.
No, you're not alone at all.
How does he suggest we cultivate this self-discipline?
Well, he talks about creating routines, minimizing distractions, and setting those clear boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
It's about taking ownership of your time and energy and directing them towards what matters most.
So it's about creating structure and setting yourself up for success.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
And that leads us to Aminian's final group of skills,
Okay.
which focuses on knowing yourself and others.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
So it's all about delving deeper into self-awareness, understanding your strengths and weaknesses, and building those meaningful connections with others.
Okay.
And it starts with a really powerful practice, practicing self-analysis.
Self-analysis.
Yeah.
I'll admit that sounds a little intimidating.
Okay.
Who wants to spend all day analyzing their flaws?
It's not about dwelling on negativity.
Yeah.
It's about gaining a deeper understanding of yourself, your values, your motivations, your patterns of behavior.
Okay.
Aminian emphasizes the importance of honest self-reflection, identifying those areas for growth and celebrating your unique strengths. And he suggests things like journaling, practicing mindfulness, and seeking feedback from trusted sources
Okay.
as valuable tools for self-discovery.
It's like having a conversation with yourself
Yeah,
to better understand who you are and what you want.
exactly. And once you have that clearer understanding of yourself, you're better equipped to navigate the world around you.
Right.
And that brings us to the next skill, mastering, how to learn.
Okay. I feel like I'm always learning new things, but maybe I'm not doing it as effectively as I could be.
It's possible.
What are some of his insights on becoming a more effective learner?
Well, he encourages experimentation.
Oh.
He suggests trying out different learning styles, exploring various resources, and finding what resonates with you. He also emphasizes the importance of active engagement, connecting new information to existing knowledge, and consistently seeking out those opportunities to learn and grow. I'm curious, what are some ways you enjoy learning?
I've always been a visual learner, so I
good.
gravitate towards things like documentaries, online courses with engaging visuals,
Okay.
and even just like taking walks in nature
Oh, nice.
and observing my surroundings.
I love that.
I feel like I absorb information better when I can see it or experience it.
And those are great examples. And Aminian really highlights that, finding those methods that spark your curiosity and make learning enjoyable is crucial for long-term engagement.
Yeah. Okay, so we've talked about understanding ourselves,
Yeah.
mastering how to learn,
Right.
but this category is also about knowing others.
It is.
What does he have to say about building strong relationships?
Well, he emphasizes the importance of empathy, which he calls understanding others' emotions.
Okay.
It's about stepping outside of your own perspective and
Yeah.
truly trying to see the world through the eyes of others.
Right. It involves active listening, paying attention to body language, and being willing to ask clarifying questions.
It's like that saying, walk a mile in someone else's shoes.
Exactly.
It's about recognizing that everyone has their own unique experiences, perspectives, and challenges.
Yes. And that understanding is so crucial for building those strong, healthy relationships,
Yeah.
whether they're personal or professional.
Empathy fosters connection, trust, compassion.
I agree. And once you've built that foundation of empathy,
Yeah.
Aminian suggests focusing on remaining consistent.
Okay. Consistency. I can definitely see how that's important.
Yeah.
But it's also something I struggle with.
That's okay. The common struggle.
What are some of his tips for becoming more consistent? Well, he emphasizes the importance of establishing clear goals, creating routines, and holding yourself accountable.
Okay.
It's about showing up for yourself and for others, even when it's challenging.
Right.
It's about building trust through your actions and following through on your commitments.
It's not about being perfect. It's about making that conscious effort
Exactly.
to show up and do your best.
Exactly. And that brings us to another skill that's often overlooked, but incredibly powerful.
Right?
Mastering your inner dialogue.
Mastering your inner dialogue. I've heard that phrase before,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure I fully understand it.
Okay, so it's about becoming aware of that constant chatter going on in your mind and learning to manage those thoughts.
Okay.
Aminian emphasizes the importance of recognizing negative self-talk and replacing it with more positive and empowering thoughts.
Okay.
He talks about challenging limiting beliefs, practicing gratitude, and focusing on solutions rather than dwelling on problems.
So being mindful of your thoughts
Yes.
and choosing to focus on the positive.
Exactly, and that can have a profound impact on your mood, your behavior, and ultimately your success. It's about becoming your own best cheerleader and silencing that inner critic that can hold you back.
Yeah, it's like taking control of the narrative
Yes.
in your own mind.
Precisely. And speaking of powerful tools, Aminian's next skill focuses on persuasive writing skills.
Persuasive writing.
Yes.
I have to admit, writing is not my strong suit,
Okay.
but I can see how the ability to communicate effectively in writing is crucial these days.
Absolutely. Whether you're crafting emails, proposals, marketing materials, or even just social media posts,
Right.
the ability to write clearly, persuasively, and engagingly is a valuable asset.
It really is.
Aminian emphasizes the importance of understanding your audience, crafting compelling arguments, and using language that resonates with your readers.
So it's more than just proper grammar and spelling.
It is.
About strategically using words to
Exactly.
convey your message and influence others.
Precisely, and finally, we come to a skill that's often seen as a sign of weakness.
Okay.
But Aminian argues it's actually a strength.
Okay.
Knowing when to ask for help.
I love that he included this
Right,
as
yeah.
one of the essential skills.
Because it's so important.
It's so important to recognize that we don't have to do everything alone.
Absolutely. Aminian emphasizes that seeking help, whether it's from a mentor, a colleague, or a friend, is a sign of self-awareness
Yeah.
and a willingness to learn and grow. It's about building a support system and recognizing that we can achieve more when we work together.
There's strengths and vulnerability,
Absolutely.
and recognizing that we don't have all the answers.
Right.
So we've explored skills like public speaking,
Yep.
perseverance, financial literacy, and the importance of knowing ourselves and others.
It's been quite a journey,
Yeah.
hasn't it?
Yes.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We have a lot more to go.
But we're not done yet.
Okay.
In the final part of our deep dive, we'll bring it all together
Okay.
and explore how these 21 skills can truly transform your life, both personally and professionally.
I'm still processing everything we talked about last time.
It's a lot to take in.
It is.
Isn't it?
It's incredible how all those skills, from mastering your inner dialogue to knowing when to ask for help,
Right?
can really shape your life.
It really shows how connected personal and professional growth are.
You know, when we first started, I was a bit overwhelmed
Understandably.
by the number of skills he covers.
It's a lot, 21.
Yeah. But now seeing how they all fit together,
Right.
it feels more like an exciting journey
It is.
than a daunting task.
Exactly, and that's what Aminian says.
Yeah.
These 21 skills aren't a checklist
Right.
to be completed,
Right.
but a framework for lifelong learning and growth.
So where do we go from here? How do we actually incorporate these skills into our daily lives?
Well, Aminian doesn't give a specific order
Right.
or timeline. He
Right.
just wants us to reflect on our values, our goals, and our current challenges.
Mm-hmm.
Like, which of these skills resonates most with you right now?
Yeah.
Which skill, if you developed it, could have the biggest impact?
That's a good approach.
Yeah, it's all about figuring out which skills are most relevant and meaningful to you.
Right. And once you've figured that out,
Yes.
what's the next step?
Action?
Okay.
Take action.
Just do it.
Just do it exactly. Start small. Set a realistic goal.
Mm-hmm.
Break it down into manageable steps.
Right.
And celebrate your progress.
It's about building momentum, right?
It is exactly like those small wins we talked about.
And it's okay if we stumble along the way.
Of course.
Those setbacks are natural.
They are a natural part of learning.
Right.
The key is to use those setbacks as opportunities for growth and adjust your approach.
So it all comes back to that growth mindset.
It does.
Embracing challenges and knowing that failure is just feedback.
Exactly. And as you continue to work on these skills, remember that you don't have to go it alone.
Right.
Aminian talks about the importance of having a good support system.
Yeah.
Find mentors, join communities, learn from others, share your experiences.
It's like having your own personal board of directors
It is.
to help you on your journey.
Exactly. And most importantly, never stop being curious,
Mm-hmm.
never stop exploring, and never stop learning.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Joseph Aminian's 21 Skills for a Lifetime, we want to leave you with a question.
Okay.
What's one small step you can take today to start developing a skill that resonates with you?
Remember, even the smallest action can make a big difference.
Thanks for joining us.
It was fun.